lovely afternoon and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Lunchtime Cafe right here on Camnet TV, not just another channel, your #1 community TV station, and we're here to give you nothing but the very best of content that you are looking forward to this afternoon, fully knowing that this is a program that comes to you every weekday from Monday to Thursday each afternoon, just to keep you current with information as well as getting to load you down with some information that you might have forgotten and give you a flashback. That is another segment that we call the Forgotten Stories. But exciting this afternoon, I'm not alone in the studio. I'm joined by my co-host, Nelly Nyati.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Nelson. Thank you so much, viewers, for joining us again for Lunchtime Cafe. We're coming to you live from our Camnet studios. And you might be watching us from our Facebook platform, exactly. Facebook, YouTube, we're live. And if you're watching us from there, please let us know where you're watching us from. We have an exciting show for you, for our viewers today, Nelson. Yeah, we have exciting stories in our Emerging Stories segment, as well as Forgotten Stories. So yeah, stick around and let us know, like I said, where you're watching us from. It's lunchtime.
It's lunchtime. It's very important. You can even call in to tell us
yes.
what you're eating.
What are you having for lunch? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, those are interesting issues that we should...
Let us know. Yes, let us know what you're having for lunch. What do you like to have for lunch, Nelson?
Ooh, that's a very, very serious
Are you
question.
a light meals or...
How do I handle it?
Shima, full meals like me? I'm a traditional Zambian woman. Kansima. Yeah, that's me for lunch.
Kansima is everything, but you know, it depends with at a particular time where you're found. The location matters.
True.
You might just find yourself that you capture that moment that is very important.
I hear you. Well,
yes.
Viewers, let us know what you're having for lunch, and you know what you usually go for at the office. Is it light meals? Is it something heavy and traditional? Because you know the cost of living has gone up now.
Yeah, all those
Millie meal is up there. So yes. I don't know if you're having shima every day anymore, like I used to.
But in case you're watching us from your comfort of your home, you can catch us through on Topstar channel 106, GoTV on channel 25, DSTV on channel 274, and right about now we go direct into the Emerging Stories. What we have, Nelly?
All right, in our Emerging Stories, our first story is from the Ministry of Home Affairs, where the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwimbu, says both Gold Gate plane and the 10 suspects detained in the connection with the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport gold scandal are still under the custody of the state security agencies. Mr. Mwimbu has also directed that the only authority to issue statements on the matter will be the Drug Enforcement Commission and not any other government institution.
All other wings of government to desist from making comments on this matter. All comments pertaining to this particular matter will be handled by the Drug Enforcement Agency, who are the lead agency in this investigation. We also want to appeal to members of the public who may have particular information pertaining to this particular gold saga to report and inform the investigating wings of the information they may have in order for the investigating wings to expedite this particular process. We, as government, have nothing to hide. This morning, we are going to lead a delegation of media houses to go to the airport and see for themselves that the plane in issue is under our custody. And the individuals who are alleged to be involved in this matter, and which individuals were detained by the police, are still in custody. No one has been released by the investigating wing. I also want to appeal. I also want to appeal that politicians must not use this particular unfortunate situation to scandalize.
Welcome back. Our second story is opposition advocates for People's Prosperity leader Mwenye Msenge has called on the UPND administration as it clocks 2 years in power to avoid being selective to the media. The opposition leader alleges that government has been selective with the media house to use at public events. Mr. Msenge says this act goes against the UPND campaign promises to have inclusive media coverage regardless of the media house one belongs to. He alleges that while in Livingstone, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema's welcoming ceremony was restricted to a specific media house.
Sincere apologies for giving you that clip that didn't have sound. But moving on, still on the emerging stories segment, we get to look at another story coming from a financialist and economist, Watson Lumba, who has advised government to focus on creating incentives that promote production in the country. Mr. Lumba says the country has been dependent on consumption and sidelined the importance of production for a long time. He suggests that once incentives are provided, production will be easier for the country to develop, provided a market has also been provided. Mr. Lumba says the country has found itself in economic difficulties due to the dependence on consuming the little the country generates. We get to look at that story as well.
Once there is a subsidy, we will not see the need to do that. We always think things will come freely to us. And I feel the best way for us to shift from being a consumption society to a producing society is for what the government has done on the maize side. Maize is our staple food through milling it and producing mealie meal. Now, when we give money to a farmer, it does two things. Number one, it encourages the farmer to grow more because they will recover their costs. So the first thing I'm suggesting for us as a people is to say, let's give incentives to production. Number two is let's create a market for when you produce, you are going to sell the money, but government giving an incentive to production. How do you give an incentive to production if you don't money? Give a good price, a price which makes me recover the money I put into my production.
That is one of the stories that you should be expecting in terms of making a cut at our 1930 bulletin, coming through from a financialist as well as economist Watson Lumba, just calling for the aspect of production and not relying on consumption as a country. But right about now, we move straight into sport updates and see what is happening. We know for a fact that the ongoing World Cup that is in New Zealand and being hosted by Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, and interesting to note is that France is leading by a goal to nil.
The game is on right now.
England. England is leading by a goal to nil against Australia, and they found the back of the net in the 36th minute through Russo. And what is interesting to note is that between the two, Australia and England, one gets to join Spain in the finals, and the other one gets to be placed in the third and fourth. And
that's
then
the game
we see
the
how
whole
the ties
world
are
is waiting for.
Exactly. We see how the ties are going to be.
Yes,
and
yes.
Get now to understand who's going to be who's going to be the first one, who's going to be winner. Is it the Australia that have got a better side in terms of having an invisible 11th player, I would say, because
they're at home.
They're at home, yeah.
They're at home, yeah.
They're at home, and England also trying by all means to be in the driving seat as it is, because at halftime they're leading by a goal to nil. And when you look at the statistics, England has got 7 shots, as well as Australia 4. And when you look at those shots on target, 2 for England, 1 for Australia. Possession 67 for England and 33 for Australia. So we look at how it's going to
looks
to
like
come
they're
out.
dominating. England is
Yeah, England is dominating, but we hope to see either this dominance is going to be consistent in the second half.
for the rest of the game. True.
Yes, because we've seen some turnaround. We've seen some turnaround. I can tell you for a fact that the game for Spain and Sweden was something else. A lot of people were not expecting that.
They were expecting something else, yes, and the
Yes.
final result was something else.
Yeah, and there it is. Sweden waiting for who to play against in the third and fourth place. Spain already in the finals, waiting to have someone who's going to join them. Is it Australia or England? Those are some of the sports stories that people should tend to start looking at and begin to analyze on where they're putting their bets. It's all about the betting
exactly.
now.
Oh yeah. We're in an era of betting.
Yes.
I can only imagine what Sunday is going to look like.
Well, for now we leave it at Sunday.
Only after today's game, well, at least we can start imagining a little bit. Well, after whoever wins right now,
But
game that is on.
I don't know where your money is.
You know what? My money was on Zambia.
Oh, on Zambia.
On our queens, you know.
I won't say much. Your money was on Zambia, so I won't say much.
My money was on our queens. So right now,
yeah,
let's just see who takes the day on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll just have a good time watching that final that we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that talent has to be showcased, even with females now, and getting at this global stage, just doing what men are able to do best, and also showcasing to say we can do it better than you do it.
So true.
Yes, we've had some turnarounds of events where a team is leading by 2 goals to nil, all of a sudden they get to lose at the end of the game. So
imagine that.
Yeah, that's football, and it has evolved, and we get to enjoy the way it comes. But right about now, we get direct into that story that we had recorded that didn't have sound, been given an indication that that story is ready.
Okay, yeah, let's take that story again. Opposition advocates for People's Prosperity leader Mwenye Msenge has called on the UPND administration as it clocks 2 years in power to avoid being selective to the media. The opposition leader alleges that government has been selective with the media houses to use at public events. Mr. Msenge says this act goes against the UPND campaign promises to have inclusive media coverage regardless of the media house one belongs to. He alleges that while in Livingstone, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema's welcoming ceremony was restricted to a specific media house.
What came out from there is saddening to learn that the journalists, most of them were bad, if not all of them, to attend the arrival of His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema at Halimanga Mkumbla Airport in Livingstone. Now, we have also learned that most of these public functions where our colleagues, the New Dawn government, usually grace, they have come up with a tendency of being selective in who should be attended from the media fraternity, especially journalists, and of course other media houses. For the first time, we are seeing something that is that is not normal, because journalists belong to the fourth estate and they play a very important role when it comes to information dissemination.
Well, that's it from our Imaging Stories. We're going to take a break right now, but when we come back, we begin our Forgotten Stories. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're still watching Lunchtime Cafe. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. If you're still watching us on DSTV, GoTV or Topstar, and you'd like to let us know where you're watching us from, please go to our social media platforms, Facebook or YouTube, and just send us a comment in the comment section. Right now, Nelson, we get into the Forgotten Stories.
Yeah, and better still, for those that don't have access to
social media,
they can still utilize the numbers that are on the screen and just ensure that they text us, or better still call in and give us the perspective on some of the stories that have actually been pitched in and what they really think should be the case in as far as those issues are concerned. But right about now, let's get to Forgotten Stories. And you know, these stories are very important in that you get to also analyze and look at
how far we've come. Yes,
and,
so true.
And what strides we're making as a country, and what else do we really need to do to ensure that we forge ahead. And the first story we're looking at in the Forgotten Stories is coming from Kasempa, where on this day, opposition UPND Kasempa Member of Parliament Brenda Tambatamba called on government to beef up infrastructure development in schools. Ms. Tambatamba argued that most schools lacked laboratories which support learning in the ICT era. She expressed sadness that facilities were unavailable to provide favorable competition between rural and urban pupils. We get to look at that story and we'll be back very soon.
Like most of the schools in this constituency, we have the same situation where the computers are nowhere. Schools have been upgraded, other than the old schools, the original secondary schools like Mkinge Girls Secondary School, as well as Kasempa Boys, Kasempa Day, which will receive a shot in the arm with their new technology lab that has just been constructed, which is under construction now. The rest of the other upgraded secondary schools are in a quandary. So it is very unfortunate that you want to have young people, pupils learning at a school such as this one, in a hard-to-reach area, as well as no power, and having a facility of learning, including a lab which looks like this one, which is bare minimums, bare bones here, to compete or contest or write the same exam as the one who is in Monali or as the one who's at Roma. How do you equate? How can you compare mangoes and oranges, or in fact oranges and Mpundu or Masuku and get the same result. So there is a problem here in Kasempa at most of the secondary schools that we have. Science labs mostly and are not up to the standard that you'd expect. Technology such as IT is not tenable because there's no power first and foremost, and the supply of computers is dependent on goodwill from donors and not a deliberate plan to be executed by government to supply, like desks are supplied.
Yeah, that's a story that's coming all the way from 16th August 2020 for your information, and we get to load you down in as far as that here is concerned. And moving forward, we've got another story coming through from National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPE Secretary General Nelson Mwale, on this day called on the youths in the country to stop relying on government for youth empowerment because government had provided a platform for them to access empowerment. Mr. Mwale argued that government had done its part and it was up to the people to take a step.
Government has done its part. The onus is for our youths to form cooperatives so that they benefit from this fund. This fund is meant for them. The idea of blaming government every now and then, and yet you cannot take a step yourself as a youth, we will not help them in any way. Regardless of which government is in power, they must take that initiative of being part of this youth empowerment fund, which government has brought forward. Because at the end of the day, this is the empowerment that they've been crying for. Because you're not going to keep crying when government has done an initiative. So how are they going to be part of this? They can only be part of this when they form cooperatives. Because that is how serious they'll be seen. For those charged with the responsibility to disburse these funds, can they ensure that the funds meet the right target, as opposed to us, seeing people of my age who are 40 and above, benefiting from the Youth Empowerment Fund? That is not our money. That is money for the youth.
That's Mr. Nelson Mwale. He appears to be my namesake anyways.
Yes,
just trying
your namesake.
Just trying to bring in the issues relating to youth empowerment and everything.
Sure.
I think the case still remains because we still receive complaints of people trying to pitch in their arguments that we're unable to receive these youth empowerments. That what really do we need to do? Because even even then it's been there, the complaint has been there, and government has said we've provided. But what's happening now? It's still the same. Is there something that we need to change?
Sure.
In your perspective?
Yeah, and it's interesting that we brought this story up at this time of the year when we're looking at the past 2 years of the UPND administration and how one of their promises where they were really going to focus on the youth.
Employment and the like.
And yes, and all that. So it's interesting to see what they've done so far, especially with what Mr. Mwale was talking about.
Yeah,
it'll be nice to just get some information and let us know if you're a youth out there watching us. What have you done the last 2 years that is different from what you were doing before? 2021 elections. Let us know how your life is right now in the comment section.
Yeah, and it's very important just to keep on keeping those comments coming through. At a later stage, you get to hear from you and what you really think about these issues. But let alone we move into our third forgotten story in the year 2020, coming through from the Ministry of Health Director for Clinical Care and Diagnostic, Dr. Alex Makupe, who announced the resumption of a dialysis operation at the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, after operations were disrupted. Dr. Makupe disclosed that at that time, the non-availability of the dialysis was as a result of water pipe burst that had occurred at the institution. Let's look at that story.
Several patients that undergo dialysis at Zambia's highest referral hospital, the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, were stuck last week for days as the unit could not offer the services. They wondered what could have gone wrong, but now government, through Ministry of Health Director for Clinical Care and Diagnostics, Alex Makupe, has told the nation that the problem was as a result of a water burst at UTH. Dr. Makupe, who is also UTH Senior Medical Superintendent, explains that dialysis services require a lot of water, and without it, no services can be administered but says the machines are back and operating at full capacity.
There has been a few comments as to what's been happening in the UTHs concerning dialysis services. I can confirm that we've had a small setback last week, and this was because we've had a very big pipe burst. And this pipe for the water was laid some time back, many years back, very deep in the ground. That even when we saw that there was a reduction in the amount of water that was flowing out of our taps, we could not find where the problem was. But after searching, we discovered that there was a very big pipe that had burst. The dialysis center within the UTHs requires plenty of water for it to run. It's dependent on high volumes of water. That made us slow down and stop the services for a day and two. But management moved in swiftly to correct the situation. As we speak now, the services over the past 2 days again have been running.
This reporter rushed to UTH to confirm the situation, and indeed all is back to normal, as some patients were found on the machines.
The machines are back online. They've been back online since Friday, and now we're able to dialyze. Today is Sunday, and we're here enjoying the dialysis. You know, these machines at one time were only available in India, but now we're grateful for our government that they're available to all of us in many health institutions across the country, and they're quite affordable for us to be able to undergo this service. So we're grateful, and I can confirm that we're back online and we feel great.
Kalan Muchima reporting for Camnet News in Osaka.
Yeah, that's a story we got to look at as we continue to flash back in the year 2020 and just trying to bring in all those issues that were relating to a dialysis at UTH stopping to function and what were some of the effects and what actually led to that. But right about now, we jump directly into the year 2021. We know that it was an election year during this period, and we get to look at those stories that really happened on this day, the 16th of August 2021. What do we have, Nelly?
Wow, the year 2021 was quite an interesting one.
Interesting.
It was an interesting year for us. So let's look at a story on this day when the president and now 6th President Edgar Lungu conceded defeat to President Hakainde Hichilema in the 12th August 2021 general elections. Then strongest opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema was announced winner of the elections after amassing, wow, 2.8 10,777 votes against then President Edgar Lungu, who managed to amass 1.8 14,201 votes. Wow. With all but one of the 156 constituencies counted. Let's have a look at that story.
Yeah.
Countrymen, women and the youth, we held our general elections on Thursday, 12th August 2021, and the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, have released the final election results. Based on the revelation of the ECZ final results, I will comply with the constitutional provisions for a peaceful transition of power. I would therefore like to congratulate my brother, the President-elect, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for becoming the 7th Republican President. Countrymen, women and the youth, let me also congratulate all those who participated in this general election and won at various levels. To those who did not, there is always another time.
Wow, what an interesting story, what an interesting day. Brings back so many memories, hey Nelson?
So many memories. And when you look at those margins, you find that HH has got 2,810,777, and the then president is standing at 1,814,201.
It was a shocker.
Quite a shocker, because when you look at the difference, you find that it's close to 900 and something thousand. Like, wow.
Totally unexpected, I think, at the time.
Yes.
Maybe for some people, maybe. For some people.
I think...
That's because we were all on the edges of our seats during that time.
It was unexpected in the sense that Zambians tried by all means to fight a silent battle that they tend now to voice on the ballot at that particular time. So they really wanted to say, okay, we want to do something different.
We
want to voice our voices out, but there come at such a time when we tend now to decide on what happens. Because even the controversy that was there was that the then president had made remarks allegedly that he was going to hand over power to himself, and then at the end of it all, it didn't appear to be the case.
It didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
Well, we're 2 years in. We're 2 years in now with the UPND government, but we're still on the stories from 2021. Let me take you to another story. On this day, President Hakainde Hichilema held his first press briefing after winning the 2021 general elections with a landslide difference of 996,576 votes, like my colleague Nelson had said. The president-elect assured the citizens that cadreism would come to an end and stabilize the country's economic challenges. So yeah, let's just go back to that story as well.
Not, you will be treated equally. Shall I repeat that? Yes. For emphasis. And you know what I mean. When I say that, you know what I mean. For those that voted for us and those that did not vote for us, you will be treated equally, equitably, fairly. That's important to us.
He pledges to look beyond partisan lines. The story of Hakainde Hichilema is that of tolerance, endurance, and perseverance. After knocking for 5 times in vain, in his 60th attempt, the Zambian people opted to give him a chance with a resounding victory that has left many citizens excited. Mr. Hichilema had a message of hope to all Zambians, and he said his government is not about retribution but working for the people of Zambia.
And this to us is not a simple matter. It's not a phraseology. It's not a matter of playing with words. This we should translate in everything we do, in all the things that we work on to truly walk this phraseology of one Zambia, one nation. It is easy to talk. It's easy to say things. But we want to demonstrate that we will walk the talk. And you will see that very soon, starting with the cabinet. The cabinet will represent this country.
He inherits a country with a high debt burden owing to what he would term as reckless borrowing and overall poor spending. But he says he is equal to the task. Mr. Hichilema brought hope to the people of Zambia by promising zero tolerance to corruption, equal opportunities, more jobs, free education, and removing cadres in markets and bus stations.
Magnanimity, we want to see a new way of treating the violent ones. And I want to assure you, a few days from now, there will be no bus stop where you fear to go to. I can assure you, there is no taxi rank that will be a no-go area for you. You can wear your PF t-shirt, you can wear your any other party t-shirt, including UPND. The bus stops, the markets, public places will be available for you. No one will touch you. No one will take away your rights, freedom of movement, freedom of assembly.
There is time for everything, and this is the time for Hakainde Hichilema to govern the country. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Wow, what a time. What a time. I don't know about our viewers, but for me, I think when I'm just watching these stories, it reminds me of just that moment of pride. I think when it comes to democracy, it was a moment of pride for us, you know.
A moment of pride. What do you mean? A moment of pride?
Because the former president did hand over power at some point. Very unusual for for African elections, if you ask me.
For an African country to have a successful handover?
Yes, there was a successful handover. Well, it did start a bit shaky, but it ended well.
It started shaky with him promising that he was going to hand over power to himself?
Yes, something like that. But it ended well. It ended well, and I think we were all just very proud of how smooth it all went. And just when it comes to democracy, I think Zambia, we're up there somewhere.
We're up there, and we also get to look at another story that is just going to be coming through. But what we urge you, wherever you're watching us from, make sure that you bring in your contribution either via our Facebook platform, YouTube, as well as the text messages. You can call in on the numbers on your screen and ensure that you bring your contribution in terms of what you think. But still to come, we've got issues.
Yes, we've actually got more stories. There's another story that happened in 2021, and this one involved the Patriotic Front Secretariat, which was raided by an unknown mob after President was announced as the duly elected president at 03 a.m. The PF Secretary, General Davis Mwila, explained that the party was not shaken and would mobilize and bounce back. Let's just jog our memories as far as that story is concerned.
A group of unruly cadres had in the early hours of Monday raided the opposition Patriotic Front Party headquarters following the announcement by the Electoral Commission of Zambia that the now-elect President Hakainde Hichilema had won the race to State House. A check by Camnet News at the party secretariat found that some of the items from the party offices have been stolen, while some structures of the building have been destroyed.
So this is the area that housed offices for party officials, as well as was used as a storage for some of the materials. We are going to take you inside just to show you the amount of damage that has been done by the mob that raided this place. Immediately, President Hakainde Hichilema was announced as the duly elected president of the Republic of Zambia by the Electoral Commission of Zambia around 03 hours. That's what the eyewitnesses have told us. So when you enter in this place, you can see the amount of damage that has been done. This was an office. Windows have been broken. Items and equipments have been stolen. As you can see, the place looks so messy. There's material everywhere because the mob decided to do this to the party secretariat. Next here was a storage facility that housed some of the party manifestos, some of the party materials, but everything has been damaged.
The facts. We never killed anyone. We never killed. We never went to this extent of doing things. Us, we were in power. Them, they've not even come into power. What about if they are sworn in tomorrow? All the leaders, they are not sleeping in their homes. No one is sleeping, including me. Because this staggering way of leadership must come to an end.
And Mr. Mwila adds that his party is not shaken by the loss and has encouraged party members to not leave but unite and rebuild the party.
They'll go to UPND, but I want to appeal to the members of the party. They have to remain with the party. We will reorganize the party, and we are going to ensure that they implement what they promised the Zambian people.
You deserve the blame, sir. Most people have apportioned blame on you, on your office.
No, in terms of campaign and mobilization of the party is collective. It can't be on one person. Because me, I can't go the whole Zambia. Others were going to Muchinga, others were going this way. But unity is needed in the party.
The question then left is, what will President Hakainde Hichilema do in such kind of incidences where a mob is raiding shops belonging to other political parties? Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Wow, we had so many stories in 2021. I think that particular story just reminds us of the violence, the violence that took place during that time.
Do we still have violence in the country?
Well, we do. We do actually.
Is it the way it was in 2021?
That particular time, because of the elections, I think things just went haywire for a while during that time. And I think, you know, for us in the media, you know, it was a time of sleepless nights.
Yes, sleepless nights. You needed to keep up with the information in as far as updates were concerned from the election, the countings, the tabulating and the monitoring and everything else to ensure that you notify people what really is happening at Mulungusha. I remember that fracas that was at Mulungusha and everything. You know? Others are alleging they're stealing our votes, others are this and everything. Yeah.
There was so much happening. Well, how about our viewers? Tell us, where were you during that time, you know, the time of the elections? Do you remember a particular point where you were, especially when the results were announced? I know where I was.
All right.
I know because I'd been waiting.
I won't delve into that. But right about now, we take our break and we'll be back shortly with some viewers' reaction where you tend to react to the stories that we've given to you. What do you think? What should be the way forward? How should be the things be handled? Remember that this is the Lunchtime Cafe right here on Camnet TV, your channel of choice, not just another channel. You're catching us live on Topstar, that is 106, on DSTV 274, and on GoTV channel 25. Not forgetting YouTube and Facebook. The name is Camnet TV.
You're still watching Lunchtime Cafe, and we are now looking at your reactions. You've watched the stories. We've shared stories from our emerging story segment, as well as the forgotten stories. Please call us on the numbers on the screen, or you can send us your comments, your questions, or contributions on our social media platforms. Let us know what you think about the stories, if they jog any memories from from the forgotten stories segment. Very interesting. We'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Please go ahead and call us. Nelson, you are just watching our Facebook comments. Anything in particular interesting?
Yeah, quite
Who's
interesting,
watching?
Quite interesting. We can say hi to Andrew Maseka. Thank you for joining us live on Facebook. And he's commenting the issue of meal pricing and the gold that has turned into copper. And then the other one is Teddy Nambao, who's saying he's watching from Kabwe. And Mr. Christopher Zulu as well is saying, Mr. Mwimbu is saying God, but this comment, but Mr. Kabuso is saying is copper. Okay, we all, the other one is Jim and J. Piri, watching you just within Lusaka, Mtendere. Keep those comments coming through and we get to give you a shout out because it's very important. These are issues that are affecting you and I. And what do you really think should be the way forward? What do you really think should be the route to take in as far as these challenges are on us, and what exactly should be the entry point for us as a country to ensure that we move forward and not remain stagnant? Yeah, but right about now, we still get to load you down with the first story that we played on our Emerging Stories, coming through from the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, who says both Godgate plane and the 10 suspects detained in connection with the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport gold scandal are still under the custody of state security agencies. Mr. Mwimbu has also directed that the only authority to issue statements on the matter will be the Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, and not any other government institution. We get to look at that story, and right after, we get to get your reactions, what you think, and also maybe tend to dissect on the issue, because it remains an issue that is of public importance.
urge all other wings of government to desist from making comments on this matter. All comments pertaining to this particular matter will be handled by the Drug Enforcement Agency, who are the lead agency in this investigation. We also want to appeal to members of the public who may have particular information pertaining to this particular gold saga to report and inform the investigating wings of the information they may have in order for the investigating wings to expedite this particular process. We, as government, have nothing to hide. This morning, we are going to lead a delegation of media houses to go to the airport and see for themselves that the plane in issue is under our custody. And the individuals who are alleged to be involved in this matter, and which individuals were detained by the police, are still in custody. No one has been released by the investigating wing. I also want to appeal that politicians must not use this particular unfortunate situation to scandalize.
The Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwimbu, just indicating that no one should comment about this scandal aside from DEC. And then
the story of the moment.
Yes, the story of the moment, and is continuing to maintain the fact that it's God, not as indicated earlier by some
Is it
reports.
copper? Is it gold?
Is it copper or gold?
That reminds me of a comment I saw on our social media platforms from Andrew Maseka. He says the issue of millimil pricing and the gold that has turned into copper. He says the gold has turned into copper.
Yeah, and Kasenda Siwale is also wondering on our Facebook platform, saying, is there any way we can know the truth about it? Gold or copper?
Or copper.
Because Minister of Mines and Mineral Development, Paul Kabuso, yesterday mentioned that those components that were found in that mineral are not of gold, but they are of copper, tin, and another mineral. So I'm like, okay, now where's the contradiction coming from? Because the Minister of Home Affairs today is telling us, no, you can't comment on this issue. Let DEC comment on this issue. But it still remains a gold scandal.
This is a public story. You know,
yeah,
we're all talking about it. So I think we need to know, can we get some clarity? Like what people are asking. Is it gold? Is it copper? People, please call us in. What do you think? What do you think about this story? What are your thoughts? What are your views? Please call us or continue to send us messages on our WhatsApp lines 0968 675 273, or they can call on the number.
Yes, the other number, which is 0973 167-840, and you'll be through to us with your contribution. This is viewers' reaction, an opportunity that has been given entirely to you to make that contribution wherever you're getting us live from, to ensure that you add your voice on the issue. Is it gold or copper? Because it seems to be the big elephant that we have in the room.
In the room, yes.
That requires answers. Is it gold or copper? Because the Minister of Home Affairs is saying it's gold. And the Minister of Mines is saying, no, it's copper and some other components. What do you think about that?
Do we have some more messages on our social media platforms?
At the moment,
on Facebook?
No, at the moment we don't have, but I don't know what your take is on this issue, because the Minister is even saying no one should comment on the issue because DEC is the one who's supposed to give
They're still doing
actual
the
information.
investigations.
Yes.
Well, we're yet to find out after they've done their investigations, but I think we cannot stop the public from talking. There's so much speculation out there. So I really am curious to know what people think. So we can't stop people from talking. So DEC will give us information when they do, but in the meantime, we will continue to find out, is it gold? Is it copper?
Yeah, and I think I'll stick with the fact that you brought in, you can't stop people from talking. Because I feel it's their right for them to actually talk.
Absolutely.
Because it's a public issue that has been brought to the public domain, and they've got all the rights in the world to actually comment on the issue, because it is that of public importance.
Absolutely.
Someone is going to be asking themselves, in this crisis where we've seen the cost of living going up and other essential commodities as well going up, the cost of doing business and everything are up, how on earth was the millions of dollars finding themselves in the country, as well as the gold or copper? And then on top of that issue is that, for me, I'm foreseeing some sort of a contradiction, because the Minister of Mines was saying they did the analysis with their geologist yesterday after he held a press briefing that it's actually not gold but copper and some other components of...
Because this copper story came in
tin. Yes.
A little later.
Yes.
Yes.
And today we're hearing from the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security that no, it's actually not. It's not actually copper, but it's gold. He's maintaining it's gold. So this really brings us at a crossroads, and we begin to ask questions. What really should be the case? Is it gold or copper?
Is it gold or copper?
Yeah, but moving on, let's move to another story.
To another story, yes.
On our emerging stories coming through from the Financialist and Economist.
Yes. So that was the other story we took from the financial analyst and economist Watson Lumba, who advised government to focus on creating incentives that promote production in the country. Mr. Lumba said the country has been dependent on consumption and sidelined the importance of production for a long time. He suggested that once incentives are provided to production, it will be easier for the country to develop, provided a market has been provided. Mr. Lumba says the country has found itself in economic difficulties due to the dependence on consuming the little the country generates. Let's go back to that story a bit so that you can just look at it again and send us your comments and your views and your contributions. Let's look at that story.
As there is a subsidy, we will not see the need to do that. We always think things will come freely to us. And I feel the best way for us to shift from being a consumption society to a producing society is for what the government has done on the maize side. Maize is our staple food through milling it and producing mealie meal. Now, when we give money to a farmer, it does two things. Number one, it encourages the farmer to grow more because they will recover their costs. So the first thing I'm suggesting for us as a people is to say, let's give incentives to production. Number two is let's create a market for when you produce, you are going to sell. The money, but government giving an incentive to production. How do you give an incentive to production if you don't mind? Give a good price, a price which makes me recover the money I put into my production.
Welcome back. Now, another story that is going on right now is the sports. There's a game going on right now. I'm sure some of you are watching it. Let's just go there and see what's happening. Let's see who's leading.
Yeah, England.
It's England. England is leading by 2-1.
Ooh, interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. And just like I earlier indicated, I think I'm looking forward to how the momentum is going to be. 78 minutes has been played. We've seen Ella Toure finding the back of the net at the 36th minute. Lauren Hempy finding the back of the net in the 71st minute. And then there was also an equalizer at the 63rd minute coming from Sam Ken. Now, this fixture or this game is very important because it determines who's
going to play in the finals.
Yes, who faces Spain in the finals, because Spain is there waiting comfortably and looking at how the World Cup has been. I think there are a lot of talking points. People are asking, is it how it should be? But we see maybe Australia would put up a shocker because they've got an 11th player in their midst.
Oh yes, the game's not over. The game's still going on right now. Anything can happen.
Bola ni 90.
Bola ni 90. Bola ni 90, you know, so the game's not over. So let's keep watching that game. We'll keep you updated as the show goes on.
Yes. So the other story that we had that we're also looking at is the opposition advocates for People's Prosperity leader Mwenya Musenge calling on the UPND administration as it clocks 2 years in power to avoid being selective to the media. The opposition leader alleges that government has been selective with the media houses to use at public events. Mr. Musenge says this act goes against the UPND campaign promises to have inclusive media coverage regardless of the media house one belongs to. He alleges that while in Livingstone, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema's welcoming ceremony was restricted to a specific media house. Well, those are allegations, but we don't know how true are they. That's why it's called allegations. But anyway, let's get to look at that story.
What came out from there is saddening to learn that the journalists, most of them were bad, if not all of them, to attend the arrival of His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, at Halimanga Kumbla Airport in Livingstone. Now, we have also learned that most of these public functions where our colleagues, the New Dawn government, usually grace, they have come up with a tendency of being selective in who should be attended from the media fraternity, especially journalists and of course other media houses. For the first time we are seeing something that is that is not normal, because journalists belong to the fourth estate and they play a very important role when it comes to information dissemination.
Well, that is the opposition leader Mwenya Musenge making allegations that the UPND administration has been selective when it comes to having media houses at public events for inclusive coverage as promised when they were campaigning back then when they were in opposition. I don't know if that's the case with you. Do you have the same perspective that this government has actually been selective in terms of covering their events? They look at the face of the person, where they're coming from, which media institution?
Well, it looks that way. It looks that way, and if we're getting this kind of allegation right now, then I think that's the case on the ground, and very sad, because that is very different from what we were promised 2 years ago. You know, so 2 years in, and we're still facing issues that we probably faced before.
But maybe one might argue to say maybe the presence of other media houses would actually compromise the security of the president while he's still there, so they would restrict it to certain media houses just to ensure that they're in check with their security. Could that be the case?
Well, I don't agree. You know, people are entitled to information. The country needs to know what is going on, and the more media houses that are allowed in, the better. You know, we can all cover the story. There are some people that cannot, that are unable to watch a certain channel because of one reason or the other, but are able to reach another one. So the more media houses you have, the better you can get information out there. People need information.
Yeah, but maybe for me, I think they've relatively tried to fare well in terms of ensuring that the welfare.
Yeah, I think they have. I think they have, but they can do better.
Yeah, but you cannot be perfect in everything. Can you be perfect in everything?
No, we can't.
So maybe we must give them room to ensure that they prove to us, because they still have 3 more years to go.
Well, 2 years is quite a good amount of time to start showing where you stand and if you're going to keep your promises.
So do we need to judge them by the 2 years that has been granted to them, or the 2 years that they've ruled? Because someone will still tell you to say, you know, I found a mess in the house, so I'm still trying to clean up.
I'm still cleaning in 2 years, right? For the whole 2 years, we're just trying to clean the mess.
And I've got a plan. Yeah, but I've got a plan. Things might just materialize. It's more like you've got a couple that has been married for 2 years, and then you keep questioning them to say, why don't you have a child?
In 2 years,
yeah, you never know
they're still.
Yeah, you never know the plans. I think
that's why I think it's important to have a plan. Have a plan. And maybe stick to it, because now if you had a plan and there were certain things that you said you would not do and certain things that you said you would do, and then along the way you begin to forget certain things that you said.
But maybe, what if they're still sticking to the plan? What they're following is the plan that is on the ground, and what they just want to do is do it systematically to ensure that their opponents don't actually capitalize on that plan of theirs, so that at some certain point they get to silence the opponent.
Well, there might be some people who are thinking like you right now. It would be nice to get your views. If you're thinking like Nelson, or you think like me, where, you know, maybe us as ladies, like you said, you brought up the issue of, you know, in a marriage, in a home, you know, as ladies, if you promised me something, you know, try to stick to it. Try to stick to it, you know.
To it in a way.
I can give you time. I can give you time, a few months, maybe. You know, he's working on it. He's working on it. But at some point, can I see something?
But someone might argue 2 years is not enough. It's not even half of 5 years.
That's true. We've actually seen quite a lot. We've actually seen quite a lot of good things happening with the current government. But there is room for improvement. You know? There's always room.
In which area? If we say a room for improvement, yes, improvement might be there, but where exactly do we need this room for improvement?
That's a good point, actually. Let's hear what people have to say.
Yeah. And
can we go to our social media, our Facebook comments right now? I know we've got quite a number of people watching. It would be nice to hear what they're saying right now.
No, our social media page is buzzing and
it's buzzing. We've got so many people. Let's say hello to some people.
We've got all those comments coming through from Aaron Mwale, the youth advocate. Yeah, I think we had this comment earlier. We also have Jonathan Mumbi.
We've got Innocent Posiame. Hello, Innocent. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
We've got Ebon's Daka. Thank you for watching. Maybe I can read this comment from Ebon's Daka. It says, DEC Boss Gold, Kabuswe Copper, Mwimbu Gold. Some government guys say so much contradiction. What's going on? Why are they panicking? Everyone's Daka says they're panicking.
I don't know. I don't know in a way, but it depends with the face that you provide out there. You know, at times, you might be looking quite smart or rich when we look at you or when you look at me, but to some extent, you don't know maybe I'm poor. So it depends with how you carry yourself in public and how you're going to come out. So they might be right in a way because
they look like they're panicking.
Yeah, simply because of the contradiction that is there. The Ministry of Mines was saying it's gold. It's copper.
It's copper.
And some other components that include tin. Today, so it gives you the...
Is it gold? Is it copper?
What do you think? It gives you that question to say, is it gold or is it copper? Because I think they might be right in a way, and they might be wrong in a way, but, you know, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but my honest opinion is we're yet to find out.
We're yet to find out.
From the relevant authorities, just like the Minister of Home Affairs had advised to say, no, we shall get a comprehensive statement that is supposed to be issued by DEC, because they're the only ones, for now, the only government institution that has been actually been given the mandate to comment on this issue. So now, if that directive is coming today, why didn't the directive come yesterday? Because we still have these hiccups. Because in the first place, we were told it's God. Even at the briefing for DEC, they mentioned that it was God. Yeah, but later on during the day, the Minister of
the story changed.
Mines and Mineral Development is saying, no.
What a story.
We've got copper and some other elements other components such as
what
chain.
a story! What a story! So we'll keep monitoring this story, you know, as it progresses. And I think in our 19 hours main news, we'll have and you can call us in on the numbers on your screen. You can send us your WhatsApp messages, and you know, just send us whatever you think, your comments, your contributions, your questions. For now, let's take a break.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hey, join me, Amazing Katamanda, on the weekly gospel show for those exciting and interesting interviews with your favorite gospel music.
Hold on to me when it's too dark to see. You cannot put your power back to war.
Hallelujah. And this time around, we are bringing to you entertainment news and the countdown, as you guys are able to nominate your top 3 favorite music videos of the week. Remember, it's every Saturday at 10:45. You can also catch repeats every Monday at 10 hours. Camnet TV is not just another time.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
It's time! Camnet TV brings to you an exciting kids show called My Creation. Join me, Sarah Chandamangazagia, to interact with kids with special skills and talents between the age range of 9 to 17. This show will come to you every Saturday at 13:30 on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching Lunchtime Cafe, and we're just about to wrap up the show. But I think before we go, can we go back to that game that is on right now and see what the score is? Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that. England is leading with 3-1. Wow.
Okay.
What a game.
So
what a game.
Is it safe? Because we're already in the added the 2 minutes already. Is it safe to say England is playing
I think they're
Spain
taking
in the final?
I think they're taking the day.
Ooh.
Do you think something would change? It's 90 minutes right now.
Yeah, but I remember what happened during the Under-20 World Cup where Zambia was taking part. Within 30 seconds or so, they scored
2 goals.
Yes, so I don't know. So I'm still having some sort of doubt.
Wow.
I should think England is going through into the finals.
With football, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible with football. So until that final whistle blows, we can't say who the winner is.
Yeah.
So, but for now, it looks like it could be England facing Spain on Sunday.
It remains in the favor of England, and all things being equal as it is, I think England will be facing Spain in the finals, and Australia will have to go back into the drawing board. That is trying to find a position in the third or fourth place, and get to also maybe entice their 11th player in the field. Because it is very important again, because these guys
maybe they can come out third.
Yeah, they're at the home soil, so they're also trying by all means to prove a point. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to disappoint your fans. Because
that's true.
Fans might be cruel on you.
It's true. That's
these
true.
guys have failed to prove themselves. So let us also gang against them.
I'm sure they're proud of their team, though. They've played really well throughout the whole tournament. I think they've done their best.
Yeah,
I think they've done their best. Of course, it's always nice to win.
Yeah, I think they've done their best because, you know, at this level, it's a semi-final. It's a do-or-die thing. So everyone is trying to put in their best. And if you didn't prepare enough or you make a little bit of mistake and then somebody capitalizes on that.
Last minute is crucial.
That's how it is. So, yeah, that's how it is. But we see how it's going to end. Is it going to be in favor of England or Australia? Because England is trailing by 3-1.
Wow. Wow, very tough game, that one. Well, if you have watched the show from beginning till now, would like to say a big thank you. And we want to thank all of our followers on social media who were, you know, sending messages, saying hello to us, sending their contributions, their questions throughout the show. Thank you so much. Thank you to the WhatsApp messages that we received. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll be back with another exciting program for you tomorrow, same time, same place. It's been Nelly Nyati and my colleague
Nelson Zulu, and that's why we have to say bye-bye. Keep it at Camnet TV.
Bye-bye for now.
Your only #1 community channel in the country.
God bless you.